Hey guys, back up in North Queensland. I thought I'd do a short clip today on an item I got about a week and a half ago. It's called an Idrive, and you're probably wondering what that is. But before I explain what it is, I just want to backtrack about 6 months to when Roz and I bought the BT50. Now, in Australia, you know the BT50 is a very popular brand of utility, four-wheel drive utility in Australia. It's basically got a 3.2 litre turbo diesel engine on it, and they've got plenty of torque and plenty of grunt. But what I found is when we first got it, I came from an old Nissan Terrano 2, which I had chipped admittedly. I found that the BT50 was a bit sluggish off the takeoff and up through the gears, especially from third to fourth. I felt like it went to sleep, and I was a little bit unhappy with it. I didn't say too much about it, but deep down I was thinking this thing should have a bit more toe off the takeoff than what it's got, because I know that it's a powerful engine, but it just didn't seem to be getting the most out of it. Once you got the foot down, you could feel the power come in once the turbo kicked in, and it was eating away at me. And I joined a four-wheel drive forum called Aussie Four-Wheel Drive BT50, and there's a lot of guys on there around Australia that own BT50s, and a lot of them were going on about this Idrive. And I did a fair bit of research into it, and basically what it does is it plugs into the, I'll explain, the new accelerators these days, like the old Terrano 2, the accelerator on that ran off a cable. So when you put your foot down on the accelerator, pulled the cable, opened the throttle, basically gave the engine more diesel, and that's what gave it its get up and go. These new vehicles these days are what they call a drive-by-wire, and they've got a sensor box on top of the accelerator. When you put your foot down on the accelerator, it sends a signal to the vehicle's computer. The computer goes, it wants more fuel so it can go faster, and then it sends the signal into the computer, and then it'll give you that power to get up and go. But there's a definite lag in there. Now I can't say it's in Hiluxes and Colorados. I don't know what they're like because I haven't driven one, but it was a real noticeable thing, the lag on the BT50. And I did some research into it, and a lot of guys on the BT50 Facebook site got these iDrives installed. And basically what the iDrive does, and I'll show it to you shortly, what it looks like installed, is it basically plugs into that accelerator sensor, and instead of the signal taking a while, say half a second or so, to get up to the computer, and there's that definite lag, this gives it basically an instant signal. So when you put your foot down on the accelerator, it sends that signal straight away to the computer, and it instantaneous gives you power on the takeoff and up through the gears. And I'll explain, I've had it installed for over a week now, and I'll explain a bit more about that shortly. But that's the item there, the Idrive, and the reason I got it is to overcome the lag when you put your foot down in the BT50, or if you've got a Ford Ranger. Now, just for your information, this is a 6-speed manual BT50. It's the same vehicle as a Ford Ranger, same engine, everything. So if you've got a Ford Ranger out there, it'll be the same thing. I made it work the other day. He's got the new Nissan NP300 Ute, which have got, once again, got a bit of get up and go once you get under him. It's a twin turbo, but he said it's got some definite lag when you take off from the lights and up through the gears. He said there's a real lag there until the turbo kicks in. And I'll talk a bit more about the Idrive in a minute, but what we'll do there, Ross, just cut the video and I'll show them what it looks like installed in the vehicle. Okay guys, there it is installed, the Idrive installed. It's basically just near the key there, double-sided tape. I've got the engine running just so that it's on so you can see the settings, and I'll explain how I installed it soon, but it's a bit hard to show you the actual install because it's a bit dark. But basically it plugs in down above the accelerator pedal there. You run it up through the steering column, gather up your wire, put a cable tie on there, and basically that's what you're left with there. So when you install it, obviously get it out of sight, because at night time that blue LCD display, it can shine in your eyes. So put it down low where it's out of the way, but where you can still reach it. I'll talk about the settings shortly, guys. That's on automatic mode at the moment. Economy mode, and ultimate mode, and I'll explain more about the ultimate mode with the 9 settings shortly. And back to automatic mode there. Basically 2 inches long, 1 inch high, so it's only a tiny little item and very easy to install. Alright guys, I'll just show you what it looks like installed in the vehicle. Basically for the install is on top of your accelerator, as the birds go mad at this time of the afternoon. Noisy buggers. Anyway, basically on top of your accelerator, if you've got a later model vehicle, there's a square box, and that's the actual sensor that sends the signal to the ECU or the vehicle's computer. Okay, in top of there you'll see there's a plug into the top of that sensor box. Basically this is how easy it was to install. You just unclip that out of the top of the sensor. Now each vehicle might have a little trick to actually unplug it. On the BT50, if you're on the BT50 site guys, little red lever, you flick that up, and then there's a little button under the red lever that you flick up, push that in, and the plug just comes straight out. You plug the iDrive straight into it, and then you plug the one that you've taken out of the accelerator into the top of the iDrive. Run your cable up through the steering column, double-sided tape, it comes with double-sided tape, tape it onto your dashboard somewhere where it's not going to reflect into your eyes, and that's how easy it is to install. It honestly took me 10 minutes. I rang a guy at Alien Off-Road called Tim, who basically he invented this item basically, and he sells it through Alien Off-Road. I'll put the contact details up on the video a bit later on when I post it on YouTube. I rang Tim up actually, and he said, yeah, if you've got a BT50, little red lever you got to flick up. So there was a little trick to it. Each vehicle might be a little bit different, but they are very easy to install. One thing I'll remind you of is that, and it says so in the instructions, when you push it down into the sensor box, into the connectors are very delicate. Don't try and force it, because if you bend the pins or whatever, your vehicle can go into limp mode, which is a bit of a worry. So just be very careful if you do it yourself, guys. Don't try and force anything. If it's not going in or it's not coming off, don't try and force it. There's obviously you're not doing it right, because when I put it in, it just clicked in very easy. You heard a distinct click, then the iDrive went into the top, and away you go. So, first impressions, and I didn't want to make a video clip by just plugging it in and going, oh, that makes a difference, because I wanted to test it out. So what I've done is, since I've installed this, I've done another block of shifts down in Townsville where I work. I've driven from south of Cairns there, 3-hour drive on the highway, down to Townsville, heaps of driving around Townsville. I took it off-road to test it in off-road conditions, up a very steep rutted hill climb, and I've also towed a small box trailer and that with it to see what it's like towing. Admittedly, not a lot of weight in the trailer, but I just wanted to test it in a few different conditions so that I can pass on my experience to you guys. So, first impressions, as soon as I plugged it in and then turned the key back on, turned the engine on, I hit the accelerator pedal and I felt the difference straight away, just sitting still. Just got to hold it down for half a second before you feel it rev up. It was just straight away, and I thought, oh, these are good signs. I took it for a drive, and this is the bit of an old hoon coming out of me. I put it onto setting 9, which is the highest setting you can get, and I went out on the road and it threw me back in my seat through first, second, third and into fourth gear. An amazing difference, just instant power when you put your foot down. So that was in ultimate mode. I'll explain the modes to you now while it's fresh in my head. There's three modes on there. There's economy mode. I tried it on economy mode and I found that it was, I don't know, not much better than when it was standard. So I think if you're going to drive it on economy mode, it's probably not worth buying the item as my bet. I kept it on automatic mode. Tried it in that when I was driving on the highway down to Townsville. Automatic mode basically senses how hard you hit the accelerator and it will give you the required amount of signal, so that it gives you that get up and go. So if you put your foot down hard, it'll probably give you full power and away you go. I drove it on automatic mode for the last week to do a bit of a comparison. I'll explain that shortly. And then you go to ultimate mode and you've got 9 settings, 1 to 9. 9 being the most sensitive and giving you the most power. And if you read on the Facebook site, there's some young fellas out there with BT50s and Rangers, and they love it. It just gives the vehicle so much more power. I was going to chip this thing with a diesel module. I think I'll need to now, the amount of difference it's made. So basically, I ran it on automatic mode, 3-hour highway drive down to Townsville. As I went down near Carville, there's a large off-road hill with some rutted hill, and I put it in low range, dip locker on, and first gear, and I went up this very steep 4-wheel drive climb, and unbelievable, when you just needed to put that foot down to give you that bit of power to get up over a rut, it just gave you instantaneous power to get up that hill. And it just feels like someone's put a rocket under the end of the vehicle. Honestly, it's made that much difference. So I've tried it out off-road, on the highway, overtaking. When you overtake another vehicle, you don't put your foot down as hard. You just touch the accelerator now, and it's real touchy, and around you go. It just gives you that instant power, and it's really tapping into the 3.2 turbo diesel. You're getting the power right down low where you need it, and there's no lag anymore and no sluggishness from the big engine. Around town, off the lights and up through the gears, very sensitive. It takes a little bit to get used to because it is very touchy, so you'll have to adjust your way you drive, but once you get used to it, the gear changes are heaps more smoother, no lag up through the gears, instant power off the lights. And you're keeping up with sedans and that off the lights, there's that much power. Real impressed with it, guys. Fuel economy. I tried to do a similar comparison. Last time I filled up the vehicle before I got the iDrive was 9.62 litres per 100 kilometres. I don't know what that is in miles a gallon if you're watching in the States. It's pretty good for a big engine. This time, there was a little bit of off-roading this time and towing a trailer about 20 something kilometres from my mate's place. I borrowed his trailer. I got 10 on the dot, 10 litres per 100, and that was a little bit of off-road driving and that on the way down. So I'm pretty happy with that, 10 litres. Probably still getting used to it. I think, if anything, it's going to be the same, roughly the same. If you drive it hard like a rally car, you're going to use more fuel. There's no doubt about it, but drive it like you normally would, and I think your fuel economy's, it's going to be about the same as it normally is. So don't worry about your fuel economy. I've seen people on the BT50 site reckon they're getting better fuel economy, and I think once I get used to getting up through the gears properly and not revving it so hard, I'll probably get better fuel economy once again. Price, Alien Off-Road, and I'll put their contact details up on the screen. Contact Tim there, he's the boss at Alien Off-Road. They're $299 recommended retail price. I got mine for $270. I think you hit Tim up, he might give you a bit of a discount there, but they didn't have it in stock, and Tim gave me $30 off there, so it's much appreciated. Guys, do yourself a favour, if you've got one of these new vehicles and you find you've got some turbo lag and it's a little bit sluggish up through the gears and that, get one of these iDrives. They are an amazing bit of kit. For $270, as opposed to going and getting a diesel smart module or whatever, which costs over $1,000. This is the best $270 I've spent. I wish the old Toronto 2 didn't have a sensor, a drive-by-wire, so it won't work on that one. But for all these later model things, all different models it'll fit. It's just a different connector, obviously, that goes into the accelerator sensor. So I know my mate, he's got a Nissan Patrol at work. He's looking at putting one on his Patrol because he said it's a bit sluggish, the 3-litre Patrol, and the NP300 Nissan also. And the other mate's thinking of putting one on his new Nissan Ute. So if you're worried about fuel rail pressures and all that, it doesn't affect anything to do with your engine and fuel rail pressures. All it does is increase the signal from your sensor to the vehicle's computer. It gives instantaneous power. When you put your foot down, it gives the vehicle get up and go. And I'll tell you, unbelievable results from this. I'm really happy with it, and I still can't wipe the smile off my face, guys. So if you've got that problem where you've got a vehicle and she's lacking a bit of go up through the gears and on the takeoff, think of getting one of these iDrives. There's other items out there that do similar things, but the iDrive, well priced, and I can vouch for it. I've tested it in a few different conditions, towing, four-wheel drive, highway and around town. Unbelievable difference that it makes. So give some consideration to it anyway. Get on the forums, have a read of what other people are saying about it. What made me go and get it is that all these lads with BT50s that have fitted them, I didn't hear one negative response. They was all positive and they were all raving about it, which made me get it. And I'm doing the same thing now. I'm talking it up at work to all the boys. Best $270 that you'll spend on your four-wheel drive. Anyway guys, hope it helps. Go out and try one, you won't regret it. Catch you later, eh?